All right, dudes, we're gonna do a real quick video um, to help some people out here with setting up the modes in the newest version of INAV. And actually, this is like for golly, I think it goes back to at least INAV 5 before they changed up the modes and stuff. You know, back in the day, on the older versions of INAV, we used to have to mix the switches. Like we used to have what was it called? Yeah, like nav, alt, hold, and golly, what was it? Nav, alt, hold, and it was another one that you had to mix together just to be able to do cruise mode. Yeah, and course hold. Yeah, nav, alt, hold, and course mode, I believe, was the two that we used to have to pair together back in the day to be able to do the 3D cruise mode. Today, you don't have to do that. And it's all this information, of course, for you. INAV gurus out there, of course, are probably screaming. All of this is on the INAV fixed wing page, but I'm going to explain it anyway. Some people like to see things, you know. But anyway, today, cruise mode is an actual mode itself, if you guys can see that there. And that's really all you need. But anyway, I'm just going to break it down to you guys what I actually have set up on my switches. And pretty much all of my planes are set up the same exact way. But of course, you got the arm switch. On mine, I use channel 5. On my TX16S, it's the big switch back here in the back. You see when I flip it, arm is highlighted. Okay? That's one switch by itself. And the way I do the common modes, as I call them, like horizon, manual, and cruise mode, I have all of those tied in on this switch right here in the front. This three-way position switch. And the way I do it all the way forward is acro. And when I want to switch to horizon, I put it in the middle position. And see, and then it just switched over to horizon mode. And then let me scroll down a little bit because I know next is cruise. And when I pull this switch back one more time, it goes into cruise mode. That's it. It's not nothing combined together to get this to work the way it is. When you have this set up on here for just cruise mode by itself, and you flip that switch, that's what it's gonna do. And the same thing with Horizon. But anyway, that's my first set of flight modes right there. As I say, the coming ones and stuff. I have my what is it? Return to home and Failsafe, which some people say you don't even have to use Failsafe anymore. But I'm old school. You know what I mean? I still like having Failsafe on an actual switch. And the way I do my Failsafe, it is set up on my SC switch. And you notice all these switches, all these other switches here are all set in the middle positions. That's like a dead man. You know what I mean? The way it doesn't activate anything other than this one up here in the front. But the rest of these are all in the middle. So whenever I flip this switch here, SC down, it goes in the failsafe. Okay? Now, on the other side of that, I know I got return to home on here too. Let's see. I know I'm probably just shot past it. It is not showing. I guess I gotta have the battery plugged in, I guess. Oh, there it is right there, return to home. Nav, return to home. It's also on the same switch. The switch is down, so when I flip it up, boom, that's return to home. So, only time I use failsafe is if like literally video goes out, something like that. Yeah, sure, you can use nav return to home, but with failsafe engaged, what it'll do, it'll turn on the LEDs automatically will turn on by itself. The buzzer will start going off, all that good stuff right there. And over here on SD, this particular switch, I have my buzzer and LEDs set up on this one here on SD. So you'll see now it says LED off because it's in the middle position. When I press it down, LEDs turn on, which the light goes off, meaning that it's on. And when I put this stick in the middle again, it comes back on. And then when I raise it straight up, it goes in the beeper. I just like having those separate. So for like auto level, auto tune, servo trim, for example, I have those on their own switch to as well. Yes, you can do the servo continuous trim thing. Nothing wrong with it if that's what you like. I myself, I don't like the feel of it. I don't like the feel of every time I let go the stick. The plane kind of want to, it tends to go to wherever you leave it at. That's the whole purpose of it, servo auto trim. So I only do it on the maiden flight. And when I feel like the plane actually does need it, which in this case, I already got all those removed. But it kind of works the same way, which auto tune is there, which I haven't had the need for auto tune. But the way that works out is, I think this is the one with auto tune on it. Let's see. Oops. Nope, it's on the other one, SA. Yeah, there we go. That's auto tune, and it's on SA in the down position by itself. Is how that works out. Now, when you're doing auto tune or auto level or any of those, what you is the plane. You got to think about it. Even though that switch right there is down to engage the auto tune, over here it's still already in a different flight mode. So it's kind of like you're combining modes, but you're not doing it inside of INAV. You're doing it on the radio itself. I guess that's the best way to explain that. But when you're doing auto level or servo auto trim or however, it's kind of up to you to what mode you want to use that in. But from my experience, as far as an auto level go, or servo auto trim or auto tune, it works better either in a manual mode, or you can do it in acro or horizon mode. So just keep that in mind. I wouldn't try to do like a auto tune or auto level in a cruise mode, which I think I actually did it before. And it still worked out okay with the newer version of INAV anyway. But just keep that in mind, because like I said, this is like your basic common switch mode that I use. It's got acro, horizon, and cruise on it. So if you want to do an auto level, for example, just flip it to horizon mode, and then you can come over here and flip the switch to engage it. And then with auto level, the way auto level works on the newer version of INAV with 6.1 anyway, it's going to automatically record what level is, and there's nothing special that you got to do. Once you're flying around in auto level and the plane is flying level the way you want it to be, just turn it off. I mean, all you gotta do is just hit the switch, turn it off, and that's done. I know it's showing auto tune because I'm not gonna reset up my baby AR just to show this. I'm just using that for illustration. Excuse me. But once you do the auto level, you just turn it off. Servo auto trim, with servo auto trim, you want to land with it turned on, for sure. You want to land the plane with it turned on, and you shouldn't be playing around with none of these modes. You want to do all these modes around the maiden. The first 1 or 2 flights with the planes when you want to do it. From what I understand and the way I always do it, you want to most definitely do an auto level and auto trim when you first made the plane. And after you made the plane with those two and you do both of these, you won't have to do it anymore. It's going to be set unless you crash the plane and mess up something on it or something. You got to rebuild it so the frame is not normal anymore. Or you move the flight controller. You mess around and move that flight controller or something like that. You might want to end up redoing those. And then after the, like I said, after the first flight, and you got it flying level, and the servo trim is where it needs to be and stuff. The next flight, then you do your auto tune, and then the auto tune, of course, you flip the switch, bang, it sticks around a whole bunch of times. Again, all this information is on the INAV fixed wing page. It's easy to find it and stuff. I myself, I hardly ever do an auto tune. I mean, I just don't. I'd rather go in there and play around with the PIDs myself and get it set the way that I like it. Which ain't nothing wrong with auto tune. Sometimes some planes need it, but this little guy here don't need it. Let's just say that it's a good solid plane. It didn't even need auto trim because I put all the components down the middle. But anyway, that's that. I do have manual set up on this plane, and it's actually, let's see here, where is manual even at? And it's always good to have manual set up on a plane just in case something is just wrong. Let's just say, you messed around and didn't set up the stability correctly or something in the plane. You know what I mean? Like as far as what the plane is supposed to counter itself, right? If you didn't make sure that everything was moving in the right direction in a stabilized mode, and you launch it, and just say you're lucky enough to get it off the ground, but whenever you bank one way or the other, the plane is kind of counteracting itself. It's always good to be able to have manual on there. So I got manual on the reverse side of SA. You see when I flip it, this one, yeah, manual's on there. That's just my thing. But I actually have manual on SB. So I got manual on the upside, and when you hit manual mode, it don't matter what flight mode you got it in, other than failsafe. Failsafe and return to home will override the manual. But as far as you can have this in cruise mode, horizon mode, acro, it don't matter. If you engage manual mode, it's going to disengage them stability modes. It's going to take it out, and you're going to be just in manual by itself. But I have it over here on this switch, and on the bottom side of that, I have loader, if you can see that. Loader mode. Manual, loader. And you'll see up here that it's still showing horizon up here. But trust me, once you hit manual mode, no matter what that is in, it's gonna override it. But anyway, all this information is on the INAV fixed wing page. I do believe so. But if not, this video is here for you guys to kind of help. But as far as the modes go, everything does, it's its own stability. If you do altitude hold by itself, for example, and put it on a switch by itself, all the plane is going to do is maintain its altitude. It's still a stabilized mode, but it's going to maintain its altitude. It's not going to really worry about, as far as the plane wandering to the left or the right or whatever not. It's not going to care about that. It's not going to act like cruise mode. It's going to literally just worry about keeping itself at whatever altitude you left it at. And it's the same thing for like nav course mode. If you got nav course mode by itself on the switch, the plane is going to focus on wherever you got off of the stick at, as far as the left to right go. And it's going to try to keep that heading is what it's going to do until you move this stick. Once you move the stick, it'll freely move wherever you want it to. But once you let go of it, it's going to lock itself in to wherever that heading is, and it's going to track straight to it. And that's another something too. I myself, I don't know if you guys notice in my OSD or not, but I always have the heading and the compass in my OSD screen so I can see that. And that alone would kind of help me know if the plane is tracking the way it's supposed to or not. Mainly for tuning purposes, but also it's just good to know. It kind of helps, like if it's a real strong wind or something like that, you can kind of get an idea of which way the wind is blowing you if you didn't know before you took off, for example, because the plane will be trying to fight to stay back on that heading. Anyway, I'm rambling now. I hope this helps the guy that asked me this question and anybody else that sees this stuff. But Peace and love. I'm out.